Good morning guys, we're back at it again with another video. Thank you so much for all the support on the last video. So many of you offered help. I've got all of your names and phone numbers listed, and I wanted to get started before the end of February, but since we're going on a trip for over 10 days, it didn't make sense to get the lift rental because it's like 30 bucks a day, and that would have been how much, Bill? 10 times 30.
That would be 300.
So this is my new neighbor.
How you doing?
Bill, and with his wife Yvonne. They actually live right near Brian and Pam.
Just over that way.
Just over yonder. And you've got a YouTube channel as well.
The Upside of Downsizing.
So go check him out. He is very thorough. He has a great work ethic, and you do great work.
Well, thanks,
from what
Derek.
I've seen so far.
That's why I'm here to help.
Beautiful.
All right.
So we're going to be working on getting the rest of the doors done. So we did this one the other day. I got the rest of the base rails cut, so we have to cut out these steel sections at the bottom of the door so that they can obviously slide into place. And since we had a lot of snow and rain recently, the doors were a little bit wet, so we gave them a few days to dry out. Now we're ready to go, right?
Let's get started.
Beautiful. So you can certainly use steel frame doors. I didn't want to pay the mucho dinero for them, so we're just using wood frame doors. And they can certainly go in the structure, no problemo. In retrospect, I probably would have done the steel frame doors, even though they are quite a bit more expensive. I just think they're a little bit easier to install and maybe better to use over the long term. But this is what we got. So we're just going to be installing these wood frame doors. Now we're using our handy dandy quick grips to hold the door in place. So there's going to be a 2x3 piece of framing going across the top, and then one on the right side of the door from this angle here. So on this side of the garage, on the ends here, it's all 2x3 framing, and then on the long sides it's 2x4. So once we get these framing members in place, we don't want them to be touching the wood frame of the door at all. So that top piece that's going across, you can see some little spacers that I put in there. They're about 1/8 of an inch. So that just gives the door a little bit of breathing room. Especially with something that's made out of wood, you want it to be able to expand and contract. So like when you're installing windows and doors, there's usually about 1/4 inch that you have all the way around, so that the door itself can expand and contract. And then with the Versatube system, things go together with some self-tapping screws, some angle brackets here, get everything into place. And once we get all these framing pieces in place, so we're just installing the piece to the right side of the door, then we can start working on our shims and getting the door shimmed out and testing it out. I also like to put some caulk on the bottom of the door, so that just makes sure that if water were to somehow get under the door at the sill there, then it's not going to go into the garage. I don't think that's going to be a huge concern because we already have the basically the rain ledge there, but a little bit of extra caulk doesn't hurt. So I'm just using some 2.5 inch self-tapping screws. So these go through both wood and then into metal. So once we get it into place, normally what you do on this side of the door, because this is the hinge side, is that you'd actually back out a screw that's on the hinge and then just go straight through the hinge into the wood frame. Just basically with how deep the door is, the frame, we wouldn't be able to do that on this one. So we got to go in through the side of the frame there into the steel. And right now we're just attaching the screws to the left side of the door and anchoring it to the frame of the building. Once we get this done and we get everything secured, now we're going to basically test the door just to make sure that it's opening and closing properly. I certainly have a big appreciation for carpenters and for guys who are installing doors, guys who install trim, because this can be really tedious, and obviously with more experience you're going to have a good time doing it. But this is, I think, the second or third outside door that I've done. Now Bill and I, we can start installing the striker and the latch. Once we get this into place, we just want to make sure that the latch hits basically the striker plate on the frame of the door in the right place. If it's a little bit high or a little bit low, then you can make some adjustments with the shims.
First try.
Boom, first time, worked no problem. So actually those clips were from about 2.5 weeks ago. So now we're getting around to, we're back from our trip. I can start painting these doors. Painting is definitely one of my least favorite activities when it comes to construction. I don't know, it's just something that I've never really enjoyed doing. So you can see me removing all the hardware from the door. If you're renovating a place and you want to repaint the doors or anything like that, take the time to take the door actually off the hinges, take all the hardware off, repaint it, and then reattach all the hardware. I've gone into so many places where, you know, people have done their own renovations, or, you know, maybe it was just like a really lazy contractor, painting contractor or something, but they won't remove any of the hardware, and then they try to like mask around it and paint around it, and then they usually typically paint over the striker latch and they paint over all the steel, and I just think it looks pretty sloppy when a lot of these things are only held in by 2 small screws, and it's really easy just to take the hardware off, even take the door off of the frame, and then you have a much easier surface to paint it on, and it gives you a much better end product as well. So once the doors are out there drying, while I've painted them a number of times, I can also paint the door frame here as well, get that all nice painted up. And this door here, it's gonna be the most exposed door, so I wanna make sure that I get a lot of paint on it. Really the only thing that's gonna be exposed to the elements is the inside of the frame, because the jade trim for the sheet metal essentially butts up to the very edge of it. So even though you see me painting a little bit on the steel, you're not gonna see it when all the sheet metal's on there, so it's no worries.
Alright guys, we got the doors flipped over and then working on doing the second side here. So you can see even with one coat of paint here, you can see the difference between the unpainted and the painted surface. So I'm going to end up doing 3 coats per side. They only take about 5 minutes to paint or so, and we'll get her good. So we've got the lift coming tomorrow. I'm going to finish off the other 3 doors tomorrow. And then I think I have to start with the J trim around the doors and around the garage doors, and then we can start putting the sheet metal up. Thanks so much for watching, and all the people that sent me an email offering help, thank you so much. I will be sending some emails out this weekend to try to organize something, a little build party going on, and it'll be a jolly good time. Awesome, thanks so much for watching guys. We'll catch you on the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace.